Hello there, how's it going everybody? In this tutorial, I'm going to talk to you guys about how we can create our tables. And in this lecture, we will see creating our first table. Let's not waste time and let's get started. For creating tables, you need to come here to tables and you need to right click here. You can see here I have create table. But before creating table, I want to show you guys something. You can see this is my previous table that I created, and I showed you over this I showed you some kind of stuff. I showed you age, surname, name and ID or etc. I want to just remove this. Okay, let's just remove this and I will show you creating table from the scratch. Let's right click here and let's say create table. You can see after clicking here to this create table thing, we will see this kind of stuff. And let's try to handle this. First of all, we need to give name to our table. I want to give name to this table. Let's see what we can say. I will just say employee. Okay, this is my default name, or this is my basic name, and I set it employee. Okay guys, you can see here I have engine. Here I have a character set or collation. You can choose, you can keep this default like this, or if you want, you can come here and you can say here UTF and 8. You can see here UTF-8. You can click this, and here also you can choose this, for example, UTF-8 general CI. Let me show you, let me talk to you about what is the writing here, general CI, or keep this default. For example, you can see here I have bunch of things in the UTF-8. For example, we have Polish, we have Latvian, or we have Turkish here. For example, if you are Turkish, you can choose this Turkish, or if you are Spanish, you can choose this Spanish. But I highly recommend to choose this general CI, because if you choose this general CI, that means you can use here every character, every symbol, every number, or etc, etc. Okay, and that is why you should choose UTF-8 underscore general CI like this. Okay, let's click here. After clicking like this, you can see this here I have clicked to change number of displayed available table option. I will just click here, and here you can see I have column name, data type, and here this is P and K, here N and N, U, K, B, and etc, etc. I will explain all of this, but for now I just want to make you to remember something. Do you remember, guys, we said tables contain rows and columns, and you can see here these are called column. Whatever you create here, they are called column. And after creating your column, wherever you enter as a data, it will be your row. For example, I will write here ID. Okay, this, when I write here ID, by default my workbench, my MySQL workbench will create this data type as a integer, because integer is whole number data type except decimal. We talked about what is decimal. We said all numbers except decimal are called integer, and integer is the numbers like this. For example, 10 is integer, but 10.6 is decimal. Sorry guys, 10.6 is decimal, because here I have decimal point. In the decimal, before this decimal point, this is whole number, and this digit after the decimal point is my decimal number. Okay guys, this is decimal. I just want to make sure that you got this. What is the difference between decimal data type and integer? We've talked about this. If you don't remember it, please go back and try to watch the video again. Okay guys, you can see here I have kind of like of abbreviations here. Let me show you what are they. For example, this P and K is primary key. When you click here, that means your ID is your primary key. And here I have N and N, and that N and N abbreviation for not null. If you come here, you can see not null. If you come here, belongs to primary key. For example, if you choose this not null, that means your ID for each rows cannot be null. Okay, you have to write something, and that is why you should choose this not null, because I don't want to have employee that ID is null. Okay, I will say ID cannot be null. And here I have U and key, and this is unique index. Let's click on this also, unique index. I want to make this ID unique. Okay, here I have B, and B is binary column. I will not explain this to you because it is kind of like of expert thing. And here I have another unsigned data type. I will not also use this. We will just use this A and I, and that is for auto increment. Let's come here. Let's see. You can see auto incremental. What this auto incremental means? Auto incremental means after each employee, ID will increase by default. For example, your first employee's ID is 1, and the second will automatically be 2. Third will be automatically 3. Fourth will be automatically 4, and etc. etc. That is why when you work with ID, you should choose this auto incremental. Okay, this is my ID column name. Let's write here one more. I will say name. Okay, I will say name. This is my name column. You can see when you wrote here name, your workbench, your MySQL workbench by default set here data type as a varchar. What we talked about, what we say about this varchar, we said varchar is a string of text. And between this parentheses, wherever you write, this will be length of your string. I don't want to write here 45. I will just write here 10, because I said if you write here 45, that means in the memory space you will create a memory, and this that memory will waste. Sorry guys. Okay, we said when you write here 45, your MySQL workbench will create in the memory space a space, and that space will waste 45 byte, or let's just call it 45. But I don't want to waste my memory. I just write here 10 because I will not have name that length of this name will be more than 10. I will just write here 10. 10 is the way I want to go. And let's try to get this name. For example, let's try to get this abbreviations for this name. For example, P and K, and that is primary key. Names or surnames or employee names or etc. Except ID, you shouldn't write here primary key. Okay. So because a primary key, and it's also called a primary keyword, is a key in the relational database that is unique for each record. It is a unique identifier such as a driver license number or telephone number or vehicle identification number or etc. etc. A relational database must always have one and only one primary key. That is why you cannot write this name primary key, because we said primary key constraint uniquely identifier each record in the table. Primary keys must contain unique values and cannot contain null values. That is why I wrote here not null. Okay, a table can have one primary key, and in the table this primary key can consist of single or multiple columns, or let's call it fields. Okay guys, maybe this primary key thing kind of like of complicated, but do not worry. While our course we will write real world applications, and in these applications you will completely get this primary key. Okay, when I teach this primary key to the students, maybe there are some kind of students that can be confused here, but do not worry. Feel comfortable, ask me any question. Me or my team will get back to you between 5 or 12 hours. I assure you guys. Okay, so let's continue. We talked about primary key, not null, unique. What was it? A unique index. I don't know what I choose this. Let's not choose this. Actually, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. You can choose or you can not choose this. I will just make this set this default, or you can see here. You can also hear these things: primary key, not null, or auto increment. I just used auto increment, primary key, and not null. And in here varchar, I will just use this not null because I don't want to get this name null. Okay, that is why I wrote here not null. So you can ask me why I didn't choose this auto increment, because if you even want to click here, you will not be able to choose this, because auto increment is just used for integer data type, because integer is number data type, whole numbers, and you can just increment numbers. You cannot increment names, or you cannot increment string text. I mean here varchar. That is why you cannot choose this. Okay, or if you want to choose this name as a primary key, you will be wrong, because what we said about this primary key, we said in the table you can only one primary key. You can have only one primary key, not 2, not 3, not 4, only one primary key. Okay, guys. So let's continue our lecture. I want to create here new column name. I will say it surname. Okay, and when I write surname here, you can see my MySQL workbench got this surname is name, and that is why you wrote here varchar. But I will change this 45 to 10. Okay, let's write one more. I will just write here age. Okay, when I write here age, my MySQL workbench cannot get this as a integer. Let's remove this. You can click here. You can see it. This is all your data types in the MySQL, but it's I think it's not all, but some of them. Let's choose this integer. Okay, after choosing this integer, I will say this surname. Also, I forgot to choose this. I want to say surname cannot be null. Okay, I will say age can be null. For me, maybe age can be null, or let's not to choose this not null for surname. I will just say ID and name not null. Okay, and surname and age can be null. So guys, let's click here apply, and after clicking here, I will choose this apply, and let's click finish, and let's remove this, or let's close this table. I will just click here. You can see my table is created here, and these are my columns: ID, name, surname, and age. Let's try to fill this, but I don't want to fill this in this lecture because this lecture is too long, I think, already. Let's finish our lesson here, guys, and in the next lecture we will fill our table.